1930s, the British government began preparing for expected bombing raids and potential gas attacks. 600,000 coffins were made, and many of London's children were evacuated.
They didn't really know where they were going. The parents just kind of dropped them off, and everyone was just really crying. They didn't really know what else to do other than say goodbye.
You were a bus driver during the Blitz?
Yes, but it hadn't really started at the point of evacuations.
Can you tell us about when it did start?
Well, it didn't really start when the first bomb dropped.
Then what was it?
The starting event, in my opinion, would be when Chamberlain announced that we were at war.
On September 3rd, 1939, Neville Chamberlain made an announcement over British radio. Quote, "This morning the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note, stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such understanding has been received and that consequently this country is at war with Germany."
After the announcement, the sirens went off. Panic. Total panic, disorder. Me and my sister, we threw ourselves into her Anderson shelter. Then the gas rattles were going off, so we all had to wear those stupid gas masks. Even her baby had one. Chaos everywhere.
Was the first time a false alarm?
Yeah, some idiot decided that it'd be a great idea to test the system and the sirens without telling anybody that it was to test.
And how did you feel when you found out that there was no bombs?
We were over the moon. We had like round one and no one was dead or did anything. Like everyone was drinking at the bars, dancing, living their best lives.
Did anything change after that?
Oh yeah, there was rules, precautions. There was no lights at night, no street lamps. We had to cover our windows, barricades, so there was no light pollution. The TVs were constantly playing how to get around because it was so pitch black you couldn't see anything.
I heard that 40 people died nightly during that period.
Yeah, probably mostly car accidents because people were still getting around cars, hitting each other. I can't say that none of those accidents were mine. Buses were still going. It felt kind of pointless, all those precautions, all those deaths, because the bombs hadn't even dropped yet.
September 7th, the bombs did drop, though.
Yeah, it was a shock when the first bomb started hitting, getting used to the routine of hiding in Andersons and basements, whatever you were closest to. But as it went on, it wasn't that bad. We were like such a community together, all huddled up. And when they dropped bombs on Buckingham Palace, like they tried to blow up the king, and it was just like brought us closer together. We were all one united people against this great evil. We just lived. And like dance halls, cinemas, they were always packed. We were living our best lives during that period. Some of the happiest moments. Like, suicide was down too. Did you ever hear about that? No one wanted to kill themselves. They were so happy.
That is shocking.
Yeah.
Things were all that good. Like, did you lose anything during the Blitz?
Yeah, my house. One day, coming back from the shelter, it just up and left.
What did you do?
Well, the neighbors took me in. It was just like that. My house, low, sky high, go to the neighbors, you know?
Did you happen to live in any tube stations?
I did.
And how was that like?
Oh, out of all the shelters, those ones were the best ones. The trains would come and bring us tea, and the pretty girls handing out the tea, and it really made the difference. Like all cramped together, but we were all happy. We would all talk and chat, say goodnight before we got into them crusty, dusty mattresses, or some people just got the floor.
Throughout the Blitz, life went on like nothing happened. What did this mean for your job?
Well, that went on too, more or less. Even after the Great Fire, all the streets were blocked with debris and everything. We just kind of went around them. The buses really never stopped during the Blitz.
Thanks for speaking with me, Jimmy.
Howdy. Have a good day.
Hello, sir. Can you state your name?
Sir Benedict Collins.
And what did you do during the Blitz?
I was a Royal Air Force pilot and manned anti-aircraft guns.
When would you say the Blitz started or became inevitable?
I'd say May 10th, 1940.
Operation Maygan. Germany invaded the Netherlands, Belgium, France, and Luxembourg, taking occupation in Holland and Belgium.
Yes, that put them real near, just across the river from Britain. At that point, we knew that it was inevitable that they were going to start bombing us, and civilians were taught to start preparing, and we were ready to fight back.
And you were in the fight, the Battle of Britain?
Yes, first campaign fought only by air force. We were strong against the Luftwaffe. They didn't stand a chance.
And then the bombs started?
Yes, they caught on quite quickly that they were helpless in the day, and we were helpless at night. So they came at night. It was a bit later that I was moved to anti-aircraft guns. We were so helpless that shooting down 4 planes was a victory. To be honest, the shelling probably killed more people than it saved, but it was something. We were fighting back. It was hope for the future.
For how long did this go on?
Well, it changed when Hitler sent his planes after Russia. Short-lived, though, the victory when the Doodlebugs began to drop just after D-Day, and our planes didn't really know what to do to stop them.
The Doodlebugs, or buzz bombs, being the aerial torpedoes holding up to a ton of explosives.
Yes.
You say they were unstoppable, but you did stop them. How?
We moved the anti-aircraft guns to the South Shore so that the shells wouldn't land on civilians and open fire. By that point, the planes had gotten the technique down to take down the rockets, and the tables turned, and we were dominating.
80% of the V-1 rockets were destroyed.
Indeed. Can't say the same about the V2s, but they didn't last long. We took the landing sites, and I think it was the 22nd of March, 1945, when the final rocket fell.
Now to introduce our final guest, Arthur Meadows.
Hello.
Tell us, how was the beginning of the Blitz for you?
It sucked. Firefighters were getting all the heat, no pun intended. Everybody hated us. They were calling us the darts team. They were like putting all their frustrations out because of all the precautions, and we were trying to reinforce the precautions, but we couldn't do anything because there weren't any fires, there weren't any bombs yet. We couldn't help anyone. So we were just sitting around taking all this like mean stuff against us.
And, well, when did you start doing something?
Well, there was the Battle of London, where we were putting rocks and logs in any clearing that a plane could land to make sure the planes didn't land. And of course, that first day of bombings, everything was on fire. We were split every which direction, trying to put as much as it out, because the second wave at night, they were following the flames to find their targets. And to stay plainly, we did all we could.
And did you help with the injured after the fires were put out?
Oh, yeah. Personnel, like, they needed everyone they could. They had made so many coffins, but what we really needed was them hospital beds. Like, there was nothing to use as stretchers, so we just started using random stuff, curtains, blankets, pieces of wall, anything.
On December 29th, there was a great fire. Can you tell us how that got so out of hand?
Oh yeah, there was a few things, but it started mostly with our fire watchers were on vacation for Christmas. That like no one wanted to do the fire watchers. It was the last volunteer job to be filled. Like everyone was like bailing on it, and the bombs landed on the water main, so there was a limited supply of water.
Is the limited supply of water why the fire department prioritized apartments and work buildings over private residences?
Oh yeah. Our goal was always to try to give chance to society to keep moving the next morning. It always kept moving, but people didn't really understand. They were trying to block us because we had to speed past burning buildings. They were like putting barricades in the road so we couldn't ignore that their house was on fire. And like people not understanding how kind of like the system worked led to the House of Commons being on fire and us not being permitted to enter due to not having the proper or
Authorization?
yeah, that's the word.
Wow, that's crazy. Thanks for speaking with me.
Okay, that's the project. The information was mostly taken from the Timeline documentary, What Living in London Was Like During the Blitz. I made up almost nothing in this project except like the characters' names and like how they represent the different roles during the Blitz. But most of the other quips are taken from like real accounts of like random people during the documentary that I saw.
Yeah, which is really neat because like the documentary was 2 hours long and not quite
So
that
long.
interesting.
It sucked.
Doing this during Christmas break was sure something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think we need to say like, I'm Megan. My voice, that's Megan.
Sorry for the British accent. I know it sucked, but that was me. My name is Amelia, as you know.
Yeah.
I think he can tell our voices.
Well, we were supposed to say it at the start.
Right. Well, thanks for listening. This was probably as boring as the documentary.
Yeah.